so we'd like to do number 56C from 12.4-ish, more or less here. The ish is that I dropped the kind of last bit of this because we're going to do it anyway. So, how do I graph a funny looking absolute value thing?
It's going down like this.
Okay, it's a V, and I have observed that it should be going down. Why?
Because it's a negative.
Because there's a negative that flipped it over the,
Before the...
yeah, that flipped it over the x-axis, right? It happened after the rule here. The rule being, why did you see V here?
Oh,
Yeah, because there's an absolute value, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. How do I graph things? I should write it as a bunch of shifts,
You have
right?
to shift it to the left.
Okay, so the way I think about these is I think, okay, you start with an x, right? What's the first thing that I do to an x here? I add 2. You guys see that? If you need to figure this out, plug 3 in and see what you do to it, right? So the first thing I would do is add 2. Then what do I do to the result? Absolute value,
Which is 2.
right?
Plus 2.
So I take the absolute value, then what?
It's always positive, but you have a negative in front of it.
Yeah, so the output of the absolute value is always positive.
So you're going to have a negative though, because you have the negative in front
So
of
my
it.
next step that I do is
Make sure it doesn't equal 0.
No, mine.
multiply by -1, right? I take the result that I got out of the absolute value and make it negative, right? That means I'm multiplying by -1. Okay, then what's the last thing I do? Yeah, I should subtract 3. Okay, so here's my rule, right? Absolute value is the thing that I know the shape of, right? That's giving me the V. So things that happen before that are happening to the...
Left. What? I'm sorry, say that again?
So things that happen before I do that rule are happening to the inputs or outputs. Yeah, they're happening to the inputs, so they're horizontal things, right? So if I look at this, I might think to myself, okay, this plus 2 is a...
Shift to the left.
Yeah, this is a left 2. Then I've got the absolute value, which is really giving me the V shape, right?
There's upside down.
Why is it upside down?
Because the sign on the first one.
Because this guy is a flip over the x-axis, right? And how about the -3? What's that do to things?
Down. It works down. It doesn't go down 3?
So why isn't it right or left?
Oh, because it's down.
Because it's after the rule, right? So it's up or down because it's manipulating the outputs, right?
Which is why.
I did the rule, so now I'm playing in output land. So it's down 3. So if I thought about these as, all right, I'm going to start over here with my absolute value graph, right? Then the first thing I'm going to do to it is this left by 2. So that's going to go
Down. Oh, not yet? I'm sorry. To the left. 2.
okay, so I'm going to go here left, right? So what's this point? -2, 0. And then what's the next thing I do? Flip over the x-axis. So what's my picture look like now? Where's the vertex? How about that?
It says 0, 2, or -2, 0.
Yeah, it's still at -2, 0, right? Because this flip doesn't change that.
And then you go down 3.
So I've got my -2, 0. And now this thing's flipped over the x-axis. What does that look like? Yeah, it just looks like the same V but upside down, right? Okay, now
Oh, now you wanna shift?
I shift down 3, right? So now where's the vertex?
Negative
It's
3.
there but 3 down, right? So what are the coordinates?
Minus 3, 0. It is
Negative.
minus 2.
Minus 3. You guys all see that? Because I changed the y's, right? So now I've got my V shape down there. So if I wanted a good graph of this, all right. So I know there's, let's see. I know that this minus 2, minus 3 point is important, right? That's my vertex. And then, ooh, I should probably put another point or 2 on there.
Yeah, to make it a V.
Yeah, I need to know how flat this thing is, right? So what were the slopes of those lines to start with? So what does it do to positive numbers when I put them in the absolute value function? Nothing, right? So if I put 2 in, I'm going to get 2 out. That means right here, there should have been the point 2, 2, right? So I could follow that through the shifting rules, or I could just realize this is over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, right?
And then we're flipping it, so we're going to go over.
So flipping it, we're going to go over 1, down 1. So if I do over 1, down 1, I'll end up here. And on the other side, I'll go back 1, down 1, right? Because the slopes are the same. So I'll get my V shape looking like this. And it goes through the points negative 2, negative 3, negative 1, negative 4. And what's this guy?
Minus 3 and minus 6.
Negative 3, negative 4. Because it's down 1, back 1 from this point, right? You guys see this? Cool. So there's our graph.